Hey, we're Gerald and Tabby, married over 22 years.
And still choosing each other on purpose.
We're definitely better together.
We've been through addictions, infidelity, open adoption, financial crisis, and each other.
She's the drama.
And he's the calm most of the time.
We're not experts, and we're definitely not licensed therapists. But we've learned a lot the hard way, and we're not afraid to talk about it.
For too long, we walked through our struggles alone, but that's not how God designed marriage or life.
This is where we get real about marriage, faith, and the messy stuff no one warns you about after you say, I do.
We call out the bad advice, the fake perfection, and the things that just don't work out in real life. So if you want polished, we're not it.
But if you're looking for honest, then welcome. This is I Still Do. Big day for us today.
Yeah, exciting day. I'm super excited. So we're recording this really early in the morning, and but it's a pleasure because today is the day that we're baptizing our 13-year-old son, Zaden. Well, I say you are getting the pleasure and the honor to baptize him. I get a little emotional about it. It's exciting.
Yeah, it is.
So
I remember baptizing other people's kids back in Groesbeck. And we went out to that place in Brenham. And then now I get to do it for my own kid. And I was thinking about that yesterday. It's so surreal.
I know.
And I remember thinking when I was baptizing those kids too that, like, I wonder if I'll ever do this for my own kids one day, because you just didn't know.
Right.
But it is crazy. And then trying to, it's been a good journey with that.
It has.
Can't explain. But
super exciting and blessed.
Yeah, and I think where we're at in our podcast right now is that we have so many things that got to us this point. And that's kind of what I was overwhelmed with this weekend, was like how many things happened for this to happen.
Yeah.
And like we went through our story, obviously there's a lot of things that went on with me and you, me before you before me. Lots of things went on, lots of people interacting. And now we're to a point where we're kind of looking in hindsight at things.
Yeah.
And thinking of even when I accepted Christ and where our marriage was right after the Salvation Army. It's something I've been talking with our son Zaden about. It's that, yes, you are new in Christ. However, that still means life goes on. You still have life to live.
Yeah. We didn't know we'd ever be at this moment because everything we've shared this far, right, has been basically why our little subtitle is called What Should Have Broken Us, Built Us. Because a lot of people, what we've been through, it would have broken them. Mm-hmm. There's no reason other than God that we are still here and still together and have this incredible family that He has orchestrated and created and knew from the very beginning, which to me is very deep and profound. So while today is an incredibly special day and we are now just like reaping the rewards that God is giving us from all the hard work that we've done, we still have a lot to share on how we even got here.
Yeah. And that's the thing too, is people don't sometimes take a pause and just think. And I think that's where even today, as I was kind of writing through and you're writing through like what we're going to say to some people coming over, because it is a very small, intimate group that's coming over. But it's also like taking a pause and just like, and that's what I was telling Zaden, I was like, just take a pause and think of this moment right now. Mm-hmm. Like, this is a moment. You'll have another moment in life. You'll need to take a pause. There's another moment. It's kind of like big events, like 9/11. Everyone took a pause. Like, where are we as a people with this, right? And then in smaller, things in life, you take a pause. And whenever the Salvation Army, I accept Christ, everything seems like it's going uphill. Well,
because you didn't want to take a pause.
I didn't. I wanted to go to China.
You were like,
and save
I'm
Christians.
a Christian. Everybody needs to know. And, and I'm sitting here like, okay, wait, hold on, calm down.
Yeah.
But then I'm also trying to not steal your joy in this moment. But it was chaotic.
It was, because once I learned, and still, I mean, this is a horrible thing that happens in China, that Christians and people of religious faith are, persecuted there.
Sure.
But when I found out, I was like, oh, yeah, I need to go do that, because I can't really serve Christ here. I can't really serve God here. I got to go to China. And it's not that the Salvation Army was saying that. And it's not that, but a lot of times when we look at our journey, it's like the grass is green on the other side always.
Right.
Right? Jobs, relationships, everything. Like
For
our
sure.
podcast. I still do, right? If we would have said grass green on the other side, this would never have happened. I stayed with it.
You're always been kind of a radical person. That's kind of your personality. When you do
All
something,
in.
You go all out, all in.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little scary sometimes.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, that one story, the story that we shared last podcast, you went all in on that
Yeah.
weekend, and my God, did you go in on it. And then your life did a 180, and now you're at that same spot of going all in. And I'm like, where is the middle ground? Because it's kind of scary, also kind of exciting. And also, I'll be honest, it's a little kind of, I don't know if I should say it like this, kind of sexy for you. I like when you get excited and those kind of things. It's really neat for me to see. I just have to help you rein it in a little bit.
That's like a side note too, that even in our relationship and some of the therapy we've went through in marriage retreats, it's like there is a part of it that we forget, that the attraction we had with each other is you're having fun with each other.
Oh, for sure.
And you're excited.
And we have always been insanely attracted to one another and very always intimately connected with one another. That's where we have definitely thrived in our relationship. And I don't mean just physically, true intimacy of deep conversations and supporting one another and getting excited for one another, even when it may not be the route that God has called us to, or we're like, hey, I love you, but we have to calm down. And
well, I think that was what was cool too during that time. You slightly entertained it.
Oh, of course I did.
You kind of let me go down the road. I was sizing
like,
myself up for Salvation Army's uniforms already.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm going to be in the Army.
And I'm thinking, I don't want to wear that.
I remember you saying that.
I was like, oh, I don't know. I don't want
Those
to be
colors
in it. It
aren't
looks like
really
a
my-
polyester suit. I don't know. And that was a legit conversation. You know, was the uniforms, because they, they're kind of, it's kind of like ROTC uniforms, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean,
they look really nice and sharp in them.
Right.
It's just not for me. I was just like, I don't want to. And that was a little silly, little superficial thing. As we were, talking through it, that's a real conversation we had.
It was.
And
it was funny too.
Like we said, we're going to be real, raw, and honest on here. And yeah, I was worried about wardrobe a little bit in the midst of this. I'm still young at this time. I'm only 20. And you're only 23 or 24 this time?
Yes.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Still very young. So after he was saved, I'm on this mountaintop. He's on this mountaintop. I'm just thinking in my mind, life is just going to be more beautiful. I have no idea that his mountaintop is he's going to go explore the world and save people all over the nation. And so when he brings this to me, honestly, it kind of makes me I get a pit in my stomach.
Yeah.
But I do entertain it because, one thing you'll hear us talk about a lot in this podcast is God does not call a married couple separately. Mm-hmm. He will never do that. There will always be peace in the decisions. We will always get the same answer from God when we're praying about a specific thing. So that is very important to note. If you are supposed to do something, both people will have absolute peace about it.
So in those days, in those early days, one of the things, so that term, I don't know if you remember this, but we were talking with your parents. Mm-hmm. And I think it was either dad or mom said that hey, marriages will not be called apart. But also one of the things your mom said was start journaling.
Yes.
Because you're not going to know the person you are today. 10 years down the road, it's going to be a different person.
Yes.
And I didn't really understand. That took me down a weird journaling road. I mean, I've been journaling almost every day since then.
Yeah.
And where we were working at that relationship and we're working at this faith thing now. So we're progressing. I'm on a mountaintop, you're on a mountaintop, right? And I said the mountaintops were getting higher and the valleys were getting lower. Those didn't disappear because what happened shortly after that, what you don't really know, like I said, you have a lot of discernment, and I think a lot of women have discernment. I even tell women I work with, like, you have discernment about the situation, what is it? Like, you have more discernment about this than I do.
And I love that you trust people's discernment. I think that's amazing because you know it's from God.
Yeah.
So it's really,
and
I just really like that about you.
Well.
And I love you a lot.
Yeah. Well, that comes from my mom. My mom had a lot of discernment about a lot of situations that in hindsight I didn't see as a child.
Right.
When I grew up, I realized, oh, she was keeping us safe from certain situations because she had discernment about what that situation entailed or what that situation had. So I always kind of had a very strong sense of that with my own mother. And then, you know, the women that kind of stepped in my life that were mature, they would have discernment in my life. But one of the things is that as soon as this mountaintop was going, and I was like, hey, I'm going to do all these things in Jesus' name, bam, where I'm going to do everything. I'm going to be Moses or whatever. and so then it doesn't happen, right? And for a man, maybe women too, but for a man, and I've learned this just through working in accountability group stuff, you crash down. And I'm not going to do drugs. I'm not going to do alcohol. I'm not going to go to clubs. I'm not going to do anything like this, right?
Right.
What's the one thing I can do to hide everything? Hide my disappointment, hide my fear, hide my loneliness in this time too, because at that time too, we're losing relationships. And not that people are they just feel uncomfortable with us.
Yeah, because we made a radical change of no longer, you went from being the life of the party to sober.
Yeah.
That's a pretty big...
And to not participate in all those things. And
yes.
It's like walls are just built a mile high.
Well, and it just makes people feel awkward. And they're like, can we invite them to things? Like, it's just an awkward thing all the way around. Nobody's at fault. We never blamed anybody. Was it hard to lose friends? Now, don't get me wrong. We're still friends with a lot of these people, but no longer like hangout friends. It's more...
Yeah. Things change.
Yeah, things change. And that's okay.
And that happens in our adult life too. Relationships change.
Yep.
And it's okay. You got what you got out of that relationship. They were good relationships, but things change and they go in a different direction.
And we all have different journeys and paths. So everything is okay.
So I dip right back into pornography.
Yes.
And again, internet pornography, in my opinion, a lot of people and medical professionals are starting to get on board with this the last 5-6 years now. It's critical. It's a horrible addiction, and it's not all tied to sex. It's tied to just having an escape, numbing life, doing those things. So therefore,
it's a drug, and literally studies have shown in the brain, it's how you have the same response as if you were doing heroin.
Right, and then so therefore, I'm back into a cycle of numbing the pain. And now it's a different kind of pain. It's a pain of like, okay, God, I just have walked in. We're supposed to be in this partnership. Again, I'm saying let's go to China and, do these things. And I still have, a month into this whole thing.
If that. 2-3 weeks. I mean, it was like, oh gosh, I'm scared.
Yeah.
Which is why my parents had to step in and give that wise advice in such a beautiful way of God does not call marriages apart. He will not put you on different pages. Which
I remember walking into...
They said that.
I remember being at work too. And so at work, I was put on the after party group because at work we had events.
Yes,
and then we had an after party events group that said, hey, you take out all the clients to bars or
Entertain
clubs.
these
You entertain
people.
them. And that was back in the day when they just gave you kind of an expense card and was like, hey, just go do your thing.
Yeah.
And I remember
you thrived in that position.
Yeah, I did it very well. They were very happy with my progress. And I still have some of those relationships today. And with a lot of those people in the banking industry that knew me then and now. And it's funny, our conversations now that we run across something, because 20 years has passed.
Yeah.
So it's really cool to see those kind of relationships, because some of them have changed their life too. So it's funny.
Yeah, it's neat.
And they've had kids, all this stuff's happened. But I remember going to work too, and I'm like, I can't even function here anymore, because we're losing relationships in our personal life. I'm losing work relationships now.
Right.
I'm the weirdo at work now.
Yeah.
Like, because I don't even know how to act. There is no
Yeah.
coaching for becoming a Christian a lot of times.
No, there's
Now,
not.
churches do have it. Like the church we go to has a program now, like to help you.
Well, the church we're involved in too is very community driven.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's part of the reason why we did eventually leave the Salvation Army. It's not that they're not community driven. It's just that they're reaching a different kind of people and demographic, and which is incredible work. Like, we will always support the Salvation Army because they literally changed our lives, and we were those people at that point. So as we grew in our faith, it just wasn't for us, and we actually needed community. So a lot of people have a different story than us coming to Christ. They actually have a community around them. We did not have that. We were losing community per se, but it wasn't healthy community. So this is where we were just kind of floundering.
You have to go to a lonely place sometimes.
Oh, 1,000%. God will isolate you to meet you.
Yeah.
Because he needed our eyes to be solely focused on him.
Say that again. What was it? Isolate you to meet you?
Yeah, God will isolate you. That is a t-shirt. Merch. No, just kidding.
That's a t-shirt.
No, God will isolate you to meet you, though, seriously, because he's isolated us several times in our lives that we'll talk about, because that is where we're able to truly focus on him and have no distractions around us. I mean, that's why Jesus did his 40 days and 40 nights. You know what I mean? To go be with him, to not have the distractions. And he needed to be isolated. Sometimes we need to be.
Yeah.
It can feel lonely and scary, but honestly, there's always victory in it. Like,
there
always.
Is. And also it helps you. Loneliness is a place I love to be alone.
Mm-hmm. I actually do too.
But there's a fine line of being alone too long. And I had a friend tell me this whenever we were kind of going through our church issues around 2020, 2021.
Oh, yeah.
And one of my friends back from Houston, and we were talking. He's like, Gerald, it's good to be out of the church for a while doing your own thing, but if you're out too long, you're going to get weird. And it was such a sobering moment.
But he was so right, because we were headed that direction.
And so I remember going to work, talking to Janice was the only person I could really talk to at work about this.
Yep.
And everyone else I was talking to, I was kind of this person like, I didn't know how to explain. I was like, yeah, I, accepted Jesus or got saved. And then people were like, oh, okay, cool. Are you going to have a drink, or what are you doing? And I'm like, no, I'm not going to go with y'all. I'm just going to go. And it was like, it was like one Friday to one Monday.
Yep.
I'm not hanging out with anybody at work anymore. I'm not going in the back and smoking cigarettes with people.
Yeah. Oh,
I'm not doing anything. Like, me and a couple people go in the back and smoke cigarettes and just talk crap about work.
Yeah.
Come back in and then maybe go to a bar, or because I would hit happy hour sometimes because we didn't have kids. So and you worked sometimes late, so I would go hit happy hour with a few people from work, and then I'm not doing these things, so I'm just kind of sitting, and I would just sit in my car because I'm like, I don't know what I do with my hands at this moment.
Talladega Nights reference.
But it's true. It's like, I don't know what to do at this moment.
Yeah.
I guess you read the Bible, but I was like, okay, I'll just read the Bible, and then I'm like, none of this makes sense anymore. What's happening in my life?
Where do I start? Yeah.
And Janice was just, again, we mentioned Janice a lot in the early part of this, but it's because she was, for me, was kind of the only person that was kind of helping me through this process, because she had saw the whole thing kind of transition from a work standpoint.
Yes.
And so she
really was a godsend. God placed her.
Again, the relationships.
Yes.
So, are placed in your life.
He's the great dot connector, as my mom will say.
Yeah.
And that is like so true. So now all of our relationships are changing, work relationships. personal relationships. You think you want to be a part of the Salvation Army. My parents give that incredible advice of like, God is not going to call you apart, because one thing is I did not have peace about it. And I make a silly comment about the uniforms. That was not it. This was like, I don't think this, because they station you like you're in the army. It is an army.
Yeah.
For Christ. It's incredible. But I was like, I don't think we're called to this life. And so you're kind of disappointed, right? Because you're just searching. You just want to be closer to God. You want to be doing all the things like a lot of baby Christians do, because it's exciting and you're passionate about it, and you know that He saved your life. He's now saved your marriage, right? And we're still working through all of this, but we also kind of need a reality check. And I think that's where my mom comes in and
this is where we get it.
Yeah. Okay. You take it from
I'm
here.
at work.
Yep.
And I remember having a conversation with your mom or something at work. And I'm saying, oh, well, you know what? That's what it was. I'm sorry, I'm getting excited about this because I just remembered something.
This is fun.
Is because we were like, oh, we should be in marriage ministry. Because we were talking about helping other people in their marriages, because now we're Christians. And this was about 4 months after I had accepted Christ. And your mom brings up, she knows someone at Intimate Life Ministries.
Yeah.
And again, the ludicrousy of all of this.
Yeah,
like, we can save marriages. Like, okay, we're like 5 minutes in this. It's kind of what I tell some people.
It's so funny.
I was joking with someone one time, like at basketball practice. I'm like, bro, you've been doing this like a minute, so chill, like watch what we're doing first, kind of thing. But so she gets this in contact, because I'm like, I want to go work. I need to leave the workplace, the workforce, and go work for a ministry.
Yep.
So she hooks me up with, introduces me to a guy. I think his name was Joseph at Intimate Life Ministries. Mm-hmm. I set up an interview with them, and I'm going through the whole. And I leave work, take off a whole day, do this whole thing. I'm excited. I'm leaving the workforce and going into ministry. And I remember interviewing with Joseph. We have a great interview. Their office was in Austin, I think.
Yes.
And great. He's just like, man, yeah, great. And the whole time, now in hindsight, I'm like, I can see what he's thinking, because I do the same thing now when I visit with new people. I'm like, okay, I really love you right now. You're really excited. Let's think about this. Let's think this through.
You're excited, but the maturity and the wisdom is not there.
The job they were offering paid like $7.50 an hour. I mean, it was something
it was
like that.
Low.
And so I'm on a career path with the company I'm at, and he's like telling me, he's like, so you're sure you want to do this? Going through this process. We have a great interview. We have lunch, all the stuff like that. I leave. The next day he calls me. I step out of work because I'm excited. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm fixing to go into ministry.
No, I think it was a couple of weeks. Remember, because
maybe it was a couple weeks. I kept calling.
It was a couple of weeks. It's in your book, because you said you kept calling and sending emails because you were so anxious, like you wanted to hear the next day. And then he called you 2 weeks later, and you were at work, and you jumped up and took the phone call outside because you were like, "This is it. This is my big break.
Fixing to quit today."
Yeah.
And then he said, they had prayed about it, and they had said, we just don't feel comfortable having you in this position. Like, give yourself some time. It was a whole speech like that. And I remember.
Well, and he said, I can't take you out of this career to get you an $8.75, whatever. We don't really remember the exact amount, but it was very under $10 an hour, right?
Yeah.
He's like, you have a wife, you have this career.
Yep.
We cannot. This is not right. This
and
is
I
not
remember
what God
thinking,
has told us to do. Yeah.
And I remember writing something down or something like, that guy doesn't hear from God, like he doesn't know what he's talking about. But in hindsight, it was a great time, because out of that conversation, he invited us to the Galatians 6:6 retreat.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, we'll do that. He said, this is a great on-ramp. You can get to know the ministry more and kind of really understand who we are and stuff like that, because they put on this thing in Austin. So, of course, we were like, yeah, let's do it. I called you. You were like, yeah, that'd be great. Again, we're early into this. This isn't even a year, right? I think we did all this within the summer.
Yeah.
And I can't remember exactly.
I think this is probably the first 6 months.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And so we sign up for it. I get the days off from work.
Yep.
And I think
I
it's
get
like
the days off from work. We're not really sure what
Thursday, Friday, Saturday is how it worked.
And we're not really sure what Galatians 6:6 retreat is.
Nothing. I didn't even read the verse.
Nope.
At this point.
Me either. I think we read it on the way up there.
On the way up there. We were reading about
what is Galatians 6:6?
We thought it was the name, and it's actually based off the verse or something.
No, we knew it was the scripture, but we were on the way up there, and we were like, have either of us read this scripture? Like, what is this retreat about?
It was hilarious.
It was funny.
It was funny. God,
this is just how, like, immature and young we were.
Yeah. And we get there.
Go ahead.
We get there, and we get into this room. We get all our little pack. The place is beautiful. It's sitting on Lake Travis.
Oh my gosh, it's gorgeous.
Lake Travis wasn't in a drought. It's filled up now, but at the time it was beautiful. It was full, so it was just amazing.
Yeah.
And it kind of set
on. And Austin's in the hill country, so it's just like beautiful hills and trees and lakes and just these. It's gorgeous.
I remember that just some cliffs like on the side. But anyway.
Yes.
And then we had these private little rooms, almost like
little villas.
Villas. Mm-hmm. We get to the event center. We're in the ballroom. We go to this big ballroom where there's these round tables, all these people.
And we're quickly noticing everyone is much older than us.
Yeah.
And they all look like they're in ministry. So basically a lot of wisdom in the room, and we're coming in green as all get out, honestly. We're young.
Well, I've never been to a conference with no alcohol.
Clue. Yes. We just have no clue what we're getting into or really what this is about. And then we find out this is a marriage retreat, yes, but for those in ministry.
Pastors.
It's for pastors.
Pastors,
they're all pastors. They're either family pastors. Most of them are the lead pastors of their churches. Some family pastors, maybe a couple of youth pastors, but most are pastors. Mm-hmm. And we're like, what are we doing here? Because we're barely even attending church at this point. We're definitely not leading anything. But again, God in his infinite wisdom knew we were about to and sent us to this incredible conference where we met incredible people, Steve and Judy.
Yeah, then we sit down with our couple.
Yep.
Steve, this huge man.
Yes.
Just tall in stature.
6'5", 6'6", I don't know.
Ex-military, and his little bitty wife.
Yep.
And we're talking. I think I sit right next to Steve. And then there's other two couples. His
voice is boisterous. It is. He is a presence, y'all.
Yeah.
He was a presence for sure.
And we had two other couples at the table, and we're all kind of doing our meet and greet. And we go last because they're all like, "Oh yeah, I'm this, this." And something about when Steve introduced himself and Judy and their church, they were so raw about it that I was like,
yes, we loved them. And then we found out they're from Waco. Yeah. The only other people from Waco. Everyone else is from all over Texas and out of state.
Yep.
And God sits us next to the only couple from Waco.
And we sit next to them and we start talking. And of course they ask, what church we're a part of. And we're like, we don't even
Salvation
we don't
Army.
even have a
we're just,
membership of a church yet. We don't even go to church consistently yet.
Yes.
It is the most funniest thing. It's
funny to think about now. We were a little embarrassed too. I remember feeling like a fish out of water.
It was very intimidating too. And then I remember just Steve, his hands were so massive.
Yes.
And he's passed away a few years ago, but
unfortunately.
And he did something on my back, patted me or something about well, maybe you can go to our church. Or he said something like that, you might find a church here or something like that. And we start talking with them, and it was almost like we were just with that couple for a while.
Yes.
And that couple on the other side of the table, and it was just like we were connecting with them. And immediately, they start talking about their life. There was some icebreaker questions. And they start going through their life. Didn't they go through a divorce before? And they were remarried?
This was their not to each other. They were both divorced, I think.
Yes, and they had gotten remarried. they had a whole story. He was an alcoholic. He was in the military. He had this whole, and she had this whole testimony about a bad relationship and stuff like that. And we're like, wait, I thought this was all pastors and ministers. What's going on with you guys? You know, that's what you're thinking, because you're thinking.
Well, that's what you're thinking, because you grow up not having a pastor.
Well, I was Catholic too, so my
right.
priest didn't do anything.
Exactly. But you grow up not having a pastor as a father. I grew up having a pastor as a father. So I know they're not perfect people and have stories. So to me, this is nothing to me. But I can see with you, you're like freaking out.
Yeah.
You're like, wait a second, what?
It's a paradigm shift.
Like, yeah, it's like, because a lot of people hold pastors up to these ridiculous standards. And yes, they are called by God, so they should be held up to a higher standard, but not a ridiculous standard to where they don't have faults or pasts or don't make mistakes. Like that's a little ridiculous. That's also idolization, which we should not do. We don't need to idolize our pastors. We need to absolutely respect them in the position that God has placed them in, but also remember they're human. And people forget that. And so that's where I have such a unique perspective as a pastor's kid, is I know people are human. So to me, it's Steve and Judy are refreshing because they were so vulnerable, raw, and real, kind of rough around the edges, which is where we were and still are. We're still raw and kind of rough around the edges.
Yeah.
Some people are like, whoa, y'all are just going to talk about this, okay?
They were the early days.
They were
early days of
an
trying
inspiration to us, and they were meeting people on the fringes and in the nitty gritty and in hard part of Waco. And I mean, thinking back, I think I'm just First Church of God.
First Church of God.
I don't even know if it's still around, to be honest.
Yeah.
It was a very small church, but they were like in the streets with these people.
Over half the church was kids.
That didn't have parents that come with them.
Parents didn't come with them. That was the craziest thing.
That was the craziest thing. So
at that time.
Yeah. What's it called? Spoiler alert. We were a part of their church and helped with their youth and stuff. So meeting them was really refreshing because we loved the way they spoke about Jesus, spoke about brokenness, spoke about how he restores everything. Like they were meeting us on a language level that we needed. They weren't talking church. And I don't mean that like in a negative way, but there is church speak that people can talk about, that it's language that is foreign. And they didn't speak a foreign language. And that was like beautiful for us.
And I loved it because I still think about the early on conversation, getting to know them. And this is just a funny thing. And Steve would every once in a while slip up a cuss word.
Yes.
And it just, at first I was shocked.
Peace.
But he would just keep rolling with it. And I'm like, do you realize you just cussed? Like, I think you're not a real pastor. You know? But now you realize like how silly that is. It's like because he spoke on a level where you just understood.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, and that's where like when we were thinking about what we talk about today and where we went with it, it's relationships.
For sure.
And at that, when you say, just like I was telling a family member, read the book of John every day if you don't know what to do. Read it every day. God's going to do something. He's going to do something in your life. Something's going to change. Either it's going to start breaking for you, or you're going to start figuring out something that you're applying to a situation, or if you're having a bad situation, you're going to figure out how to kind of maneuver in that situation. A lot of times, it's like, especially when you're early on trying to figure out your walk with Christ, and especially like what you're saying, is like when you're on fire, your humbleness kind of goes away, and now you're prideful and righteous. And
rises
for me,
up, yeah.
And I was prideful and righteous. I was like, you know what, I'm probably the best person in this whole room. You know, and I'm probably the best Christian they've ever seen. But then you start realizing like that's not it, and that's where the crushing defeat comes into place, because you're like, I have so much to learn.
Yes.
I don't know what I'm doing. If I'm honest, I don't even really know God. I know what I did. I know what I accepted. I know I felt the conviction. But now it's like seeing a person for who they are. And I was telling someone this last night. It's like people will talk about God in a way like, I'm mad at God. I'm mad at this person. And it's like, or mad at what God's done in my life. Well, and I'm not taking anything away from that. There's anger that you should have about situations. That's fine. And there's sadness and there's hurt. But it's just like, I'm mad at the waiter. I was telling Zaden this one time at Maud's Pizza. You're mad at the person for making the pizza wrong. Don't say you hate that person. That person, they just having a bad day. Yeah. You don't even know that person. And you're judging that whole person's character right now off a pizza.
Yeah.
And I was like, how silly does that sound?
Like, it's not that deep, bro.
It's not that not that big of a deal, Zaden. Exactly. But again, that's what I was doing. I was looking at everybody's, I'm judging your whole character now based off one sentence you just said.
Yes.
Or just character. And I'm like, thank God no one did that to me. I'm sure people did, but I don't know about it. But if they did, you certainly had the evidence to say, Gerald's kind of weird and not really a Christian. I think he's just playing a game. Because if you knew,
for sure,
Gerald and Tabby are going after this. They're going to these. They went to this conference. They did this. Oh, and Gerald's also looking at internet pornography on the side.
Yeah.
And they're still struggling in their intimacy in their marriage. They still haven't really addressed the situation fully that's happened in their marriage. But we're just going to act like all those things are fine and no one exists, and we're just going to keep pushing on. Steve and Judy, we meet them, and they're kind of the right person just plugs in a gap. And they're like, yeah, we had a pretty screwed up life, screwed up relationship. This is how we're walking through it. And then we realize we're meeting with them. We realize they're having problems in their marriage. Remember?
Yeah.
And we're sitting in their living room and we start talking. We're having dinner with them.
Yeah, this is after the conference.
Yeah.
We're realizing this.
After the conference.
But also, during the conference, this really was the beginning of repairing our marriage. Yeah. Because everyone in that conference was actually sharing real, raw things. Like, even the speakers were talking about marriages having World War III, that they're pastors and they're exploding at home, but trying to preach on Sundays when they have this going on.
Yeah,
so it was actually a super deep conference where we had to go every night into our room, answer these questions like that they had given us, and we had to be completely honest and raw. They said that, I'm trying to remember how it was because this was 20-something years ago. But we had to answer these questions, and they were like, please, they even said, please no confessions while we're here. Remember that?
Yeah.
It was like, please only discuss issues and stuff that you know of. Because, not the time or the place for it. But it's almost like every couple there needed intense healing in their relationship, because it's like what we would find out later on is spiritual warfare is real when you're in ministry. The enemy loves to attack when you're doing something for the Lord. And honestly, it's marriages often. Right. Because it's the most intimate, sacred relationship you have. It just is. That's the way God designed it. And so this conference was very eye-opening for Gerald and I. We absolutely needed to be there because this is when we were able to have the conversations about what you had came home and confessed. We finally were able to be in a space to have really raw conversations and details that we were just ironing out, honestly. And so this conference was the healing place of our marriage, and it really was something. So that's how amazing God is sending us to this conference. That's what we're saying. All these dots are connected. We get there, we do this incredible healing work, and that's just the beginning of it. But also sits us at the one table. By the way, these were not assigned seats table. We all just picked our spots. So the fact that we sat next to Steve and Judy, the only other people there from Waco, this is how God works. So I want people to really understand that, especially those that don't quite know how God works. It's these little connections like this. Yeah. So then we meet Steve and Judy. We connect with them right off the bat, like you were saying. So much so that they invite us to come to their church that very next weekend. and we go. We start attending that church. We start helping with the youth. We start going to their house weekly almost for dinners in this community group. We've never heard of community groups before. It really kind of started there.
A little hodgepodge group,
yeah, a
too.
little, my goodness. I mean, we had a 98, 99-year-old lady there.
I was thinking of that lady, too.
I love her. She was so great. And just a little side note, every week her prayer request would be to go be with Jesus.
With Jesus.
We're like, why are we praying for you to die?
And I'm like, I'm still scared to death,
yes. lady. And we were like, and I think you asked her once, why would we pray that? And she's like, I'm done here. All my friends, my family, my husband, they're gone. I'm ready to go. And she was so sweet about it, but it was like rocking your world.
I would just stare at her like an alien.
Yes. So that marriage conference and then that little First Church of God was growing our marriage, because then shortly after is when you get the call from a bank in Groesbeck to go there. And that is where we know God was preparing us, because we start an incredible ministry with kids in Groesbeck. But we learned how to deal with the toughest of the tough kids in Waco at this First Church of God. Because I'm telling you, some of these kids came barefoot and hungry, literally in clothes they've been wearing for a week, not bathed, coming to this church for food. We saw them feeding these people.
And remember, they had that whole one section. The kids could all just sit in that one section, and all the old people sat in this section.
Yes, and it was there was no people really our age there, actually. It was children and teenagers, and then a bunch of 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90-year-old adults.
And then Steve, who could not sing, would sing.
Oh, yeah.
Worship music.
Oh, my gosh.
And Judy would play the piano.
Yeah, oh, my gosh. It was such a hodgepodge, but God,
we'd walk to the church and doors would be all wide open.
Yes.
And it was just like, what's
and kids
going on?
running around like crazy.
It was like out of a movie.
It was something.
Yeah, it was something.
I'm so grateful for that experience.
Yeah.
And it was hard to leave it, but, there's a time and a season, for everything.
Well, and I think that's too, it's you get a lot out of, again, I think a lot of people minimize. I'm even a person, like, when a relationship ends or a relationship changes, I get really heartbroken.
Of course.
I remember when we were in Houston and one of our friends left to go do ministry in another country. And I remember it was my first time I got really emotional. Like, ooh, I lost a friend. Like, I'm not going to see this guy every day.
Yeah.
And he was kind of my safe place.
Yeah.
And it still makes me a little emotional just think about that day, because I'm like, I remember we're all praying for him and they're leaving. And we don't even
excited for them, but
we don't even
sad.
talk. We don't even talk. I remember when he was leaving for the mission, and we don't even talk. And
Yeah.
I'm like, and I said something kind of, because we always had this really kind of twisted humor with you. I was like, just get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to talk to you anymore.
Yeah. You're dead to me.
But he is the same friend that said, hey, you're going to get a little weird if you don't get back in church too.
Exactly.
He's just a very real guy.
He's a great guy. We love that family so much.
And so I think and we'll get into how that, those things progressed when we left Waco to move and stuff.
To Groesbeck, a place I had never heard of.
But I think today is really a good place, just as we're kind of reminiscing, as we're baptizing Zaden and thinking of all these relationships and all these things that kind of got to this point, just to encourage, people in their relationships. Like, don't minimize relationships, but also, are there relationships you need to get out of your way that are keeping you kind of down? Because that's a hard challenge too. Mm-hmm. How do you end or move a relationship out of your way that might be? But also in the aspect of marriage, like, a lot of marriages hang on to relationships that aren't healthy for them. And I just heard this thing by a pastor, and he was like, we allow sometimes the closest people to get away with the worst things and to affect us in really negative places.
Right.
And if you have relationships, a husband has a relationship that the wife is not comfortable with, the wife has a relationship the husband's not comfortable with, like, those conversations need to happen. Because at the end of the day, it's about the marriage. Just like you're saying, everything's everything in our cultures to separate the marriage. Look at everything. Advertisement, everything's counter marriage right now. Nothing is trying to
It
unify
almost seems
us.
counter relationship in our
Counter
society if you think about it, because it's like, oh, they offended you, cut them off.
Cut 'em
It's
off.
like, wait a second.
Yeah.
If you're offended, have a conversation.
Right.
Let's get healing.
pray
Let's
about
get
it.
restoration.
Yeah.
That's what marriages should be doing. You don't need outside influences and voices that aren't healthy. You need direct communication and conversation with the person that you trust the most,
Yeah.
the one that you share a bedroom with. Like, that's how we should be viewing things. And unfortunately, the divorce rate now is very high. I don't want to say statistics because I don't have them, but it's really sad right now that we have people getting offended so easily. I feel like that's our culture and our society right now. Everyone's so easily offended,
Yeah.
and instead of working through that offense, because a lot of the times people's intention don't match the impact.
Right.
The intention can be good, but the impact can cause hurt. Well, if you don't have conversations, healthy conversations that are not involved in conflict, we always say marriages, you're going to fight, right? You're going to have conflict, but you need to always circle back outside of that heated conflict and have a calm conversation so that you can actually hear each other. Because when emotions are heightened, you're not hearing me, I'm not hearing you, I'm only trying to get my point across, you're only trying to get your point
Yeah.
across. Pride, ego are getting in the way.
Or defend
Yes, defensiveness.
actions, defend relationships.
Absolutely. So you'll hear us say over and over that communication, calm communication, is key to resolving conflict. Because you have to be able to hear the person's heart. You have to go in with an open heart and an open mind, not to defend, but to listen and to understand, so that both people can be heard and both hurts can be addressed and then healed.
That's probably the biggest thing I wish I would have learned early on in life. I wish there was more of a focus on how to communicate effectively.
Right.
Because I think that's where even high school or early on, it's just like, if you think about it, it's like we just didn't communicate well.
Right. And healthy communication is literally everything. And that's when we walk with couples, when we walk with teenagers, that's the one thing we constantly tell people is we have to have healthy communication.
Yeah.
And because conflict resolution is vital, but it needs to be calm and it needs to be focused to where we truly learn to hear the other person, not just to defend ourselves. Because your feelings are valid, my feelings are valid, the other person's feelings are valid, whoever's in the conflict, they are valid because their feelings are theirs. Doesn't mean that we all get it right all the time, which is why conflict happens. But I would say majority of the time, the intention's good, the impact is just hard.
Right. It's good. Good word today.
Yes.
So let's do our prayer.
Yep.
I'll let you go first.
Okay.
And then I'll say something and then we'll close it out.
Okay. Heavenly Father, we just thank you so much for who you are and all that you do for us, Lord, seen and unseen. We thank you so much for your grace and guidance that you have for us, and for the love and the mercy and the kindness, and most importantly, the forgiveness that you have for each one of us. I just pray that those listening start to open up and start having conversations with you, because the most important conversation and communication we can have is with you, Lord. And I just thank you that you're so easy to talk to, Lord, and that you are the most trustworthy. And I pray for those listening today that they find a way to start connecting with you, connecting with their partner, Lord, and connecting with others in community and relationship with them. We just love you and honor you and thank you for what you're doing in us and through us all.
God, we are thankful for the relationships you put in our lives, Lord. I just pray for us to just have a better awareness, understanding, and just be able to see what you're doing in our lives, Lord. For those that are just struggling with their faith right now, or just struggling in a relationship, whether it be a marriage or a friendship or work relationship or whatever. I just pray, Lord, that you just bring just clarity to the moment and understanding. But also, Lord, just first and foremost, I just pray for your presence to be known to them, Lord. I pray that the peace of God just comes over them, or peace of you. And we're thankful, Lord. Thankful for this platform. Thankful for the people who listen. And we just ask this in your name, Lord. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much for listening today, guys. Next week, we'll probably go into our little story and journey of Grosbeck.
Yeah.
Where God really grew us.
That'll be fun. Okay.
Bye. Thanks so much for listening to I Still Do. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. We'd also love to hear from you. So if you have any questions or even a story you'd like to share with us to get our advice on, please feel free to send us an email at geraldandtabby@istilldopodcast.com. Until next time, keep choosing love and each other, because we still do.